All right, so starting out today, let's do a thoracic opener. So I'm going to give you a couple of options for this. You can either roll up your mat, you can grab a blanket from your couch, you might have a yoga blanket. So give this a little roll up, and just keep in mind that the tighter you are across your heart and chest, the shoulders, the thinner you're going to want your roll up to be. So just know that as you come in, and then we're just going to lay back. You might get some nice cracks in the spine as you do this. So you want to hit the bottom of the shoulder blades. So your shoulder head should be releasing down into the mat. And then just notice, again, as you come into this, if it feels a little too intense, that means that your roll up is too fat. Then also just check in with your lumbar. If there's any sensation, you're going to take your feet as wide as your mat and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. Otherwise, you are welcome to extend your legs to straight. So if you've come into this and you think, I think I've got a little bit more today, you might also do the variation of this in which you have a block or two. Lower or medium height is usually preferred in this variation. So it's going to be the same concept, except for that I'm going to lay my lower shoulder blades down on this block. So it would be that feeling of the shoulder blades releasing back. And then you have a block for your head too. And you kind of can play with how high you want that one. You want to feel like the sides of your throat aren't constricted and that you can breathe nice and easy. So I'll just kind of show you what this looks like. Sometimes the block under your head has to do with how long your neck is as well. And then again, you're just kind of taking your arms out to the side. You're feeling the stretch across your heart and chest. Same thing with the legs here. If there is sensation in your lower back, feet wide, knees knock in towards each other. Otherwise, you can extend your legs to straight. Just allow the toes to gently fall outward so you're getting a little external rotation. Wherever you're at, take a nice deep inhale through your nose here. And then open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Let it go. Ha. So do that a couple more times. So you're letting I guess we're still kind of in the holiday weekend. I think today is officially the holiday, but kind of letting the past few days go. It's been really busy. We're excited to be out in the world again. So some of us maybe overdid it. So see if you can start to allow yourself to just relax here, to melt into whatever prop you're using. Start to feel this stretch in the upper body, the thoracic area, this stretch across the pectorals. Maybe notice if your shoulder blades are creeping towards your ears. Try to snuggle them down. And then if you haven't already, you're finding your Ujjayi breath. So that inhale through your nose and that exhale through your nose, you start to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. You listen to that sound. So you use that sound of your breath to help draw your attention inward. So all of the background noise happening outwardly just drifts into the background. It gets a little quieter. And then also the noise happening in your head. See if you can do that same thing. And I'm going to just stop talking for the next moment or two. And I just want you to be with your breath and just feel this shape in your body. Take a nice deep inhale. Then start to stretch your arms up overhead. So just start with arms a little wider than shoulders, distance apart, palms face towards each other. You might feel those shoulder blades releasing over your block or blanket a little more, getting heavier into the floor if you're on that blanket. And then if it's possible, if shoulder flexibility allows, interlace your fingers and then press your palms to face behind you. If your legs are extended here, you might want to activate them. So point the toes up towards the ceiling, feel the inner thigh spiral down. So coming out of that shavasana in the lower body, finding a more active posture here. Maybe feeling a little stretch through the wrists, the fingers. Deep inhale. As you exhale, just release your arms by your side. So if you're on your blanket, just go ahead and roll to one side and pull the blanket out from underneath you. You can do that if you're on the blocks as well. You also might find it feels okay in your body to press into your forearms and then into your hands, so you just lift up all in one motion. And then again, you can just move your blocks out of the way. Let's return to our spine. And then when you get there, give your knees a nice little squeeze into your chest. You can rock and roll a little bit from side to side. And on the floor here, let's find our little half moon pose, so our lateral side stretch. So again, just extend your legs straight, keep them really active, and then stretch your arms up overhead. So just take a few breaths here as you inhale, breathe space into the sides of your waist. You're getting nice and long. You're pressing to the center of your heels. Your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Good. So bring your right fingertips to your left wrist. Pull up, get a little longer, and then you're going to inchworm your upper body off to the right. So you're going to start to make this curve in the upper body. You want to make sure that both hip plates continue to press evenly, and then do the same thing with your feet. Just start to walk them off to the right. So you're making this half moon shape. Maybe you take your left ankle over your right. That can intensify things quite a bit. So if you go there and it feels like too much, uncross ankles. So we're always doing that in our yoga practice. We're always noticing the physical sensations. We're assessing things. We're observing how yoga feels different today than it did the last time we were on our mats. And we're making adjustments. So even though we're practicing the same poses over and over again, it's this really fluid thing. It's always changing a little bit. A few more good breaths here. See if you can get even longer on that left side. And then go ahead and uncross that ankle. Walk your feet back to center. And then just wiggle your upper body back to center. You might need to peek just to make sure you're there. Release the wrist and then go ahead and point forward through your toes. Let's hold this for a little bit. I think this is feeling really good today. I was on the paddleboard a lot this weekend, did a little hiking. So I'm feeling that in my feet. Maybe you did similar adventures. All right, toes point back up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring our left fingertips to our right wrist, pull up on that side, and then do your little inchworm off to the left, but keep both hip plates pressing down evenly so the backside of your body is rooting you to the earth. Feet walk off to the left. Ooh, this feels nice. Maybe cross your right ankle over your left ankle, and then find that smooth, steady breath, maybe sending your exhale to any spots that you're feeling the intensity of this. Couple more. How is this side different in your body? Is it different in your body? You're noticing, paying attention. Good, uncross your ankle, walk your feet back to center, wiggle your upper body back to center. Good, and then let's just kind of flow with the breath. So as you exhale, point toes forward. Inhale, point them up towards the ceiling, and then just continue like that a few times, little like mini foot vinyasa. Good, and then hug knees in again, and then option this time to begin to roll up and down on your spine, assuming that feels okay. If that's not in the cards today, you simply roll off to one side or the other. We're all eventually making our way to our tabletop position. So when you get there, land with your shoulders over your wrists, fingers spread gently, knees underneath your hips, and we begin to move into our cat-cow. So root down into your shins, into the tops of your feet. Inhale, find that arch in your lumbar, opening across your heart and chest, a little cobra feeling here. As you exhale, really press the mat away, so arms straighten a lot, neck releases, and then moving with your breath at a pace that feels really good and organic to you today. You can even add a little movement here, kind of sway the hips, circle the head, so you can add a little if that feels nice. Some days it does. Some days it just feels better to keep things really simple. A few more rounds. And let's inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Let's just sit back on our toes, so stretching out the feet again. So start to melt back. You might have to reach underneath, kind of tuck that pinky finger under. I promise we won't be here too terribly long. This is feeling really intense for me. You can back out a little bit if you need to. Notice if there's a lot of tension in your face and jaw. See if you can soften there. Yes, this is unpleasant, but it is good for us. Kind of stretching the feet in the opposite direction of what they usually go. All right, we did it, we made it. So rock forward and then start to circle out the ankles. You can even kind of scrunch the toes, kind of making fists with your feet, I guess. Good work. So from here, let's give ourselves a little space. So walk your hands forward an inch or two. So we no longer have the shoulders landing over the wrists. Curl your toes under. Keep a bend in your knees as you start to reach your sit bones up towards the ceiling. You're gazing between your feet, so you're letting your ears release between your upper arms. Stay on your left tippy toes. Melt your right heel back. Feel that stretch in the back of the leg. And it might not be going remotely close to straight in your feeling sensation. If that's you, you're right where you need to be. So don't get too attached to these poses needing to look a specific way. Back up onto your left toes and then melt your right heel back. Few breaths there. Up to tippy toes in both feet. Good. Maybe start to firm the muscles above your knees. Straighten the legs, stay on your tippy toes. Feel how long you are through the sides of your waist. Can you hold that as you start to release your heels down? They're probably not going to go all the way to the floor, at least not yet. So that's fine. And you may still have a significant bend in your knees. Couple breaths here, just our classic Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. And then nice and easy, just start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. When you get there, grab opposite elbows, maybe find that bend in your knees again so you can lay your belly on the upper thighs. Make sure that your neck is releasing, so maybe nod yes, nice and gentle a couple of times. Nod no. And then fingertips release down to the mat. Begin to roll up as you inhale, coming to standing. So finding your Tadasana, your mountain pose. And when you get there, let's just roll our shoulders back a few times. Begin to roll forward. Okay, rolling back again. See if you can identify a little of that feeling in your upper body, of that thoracic opening. So that feeling that we had at the beginning of class, laying over our block or our blanket. Release your arms by your side. So there's a little gentle external rotation in your arms. Your palms are facing outward. Feet can be together here. You might be hips distance apart. They're both great places to be. It just depends on where you feel stable and balanced. So notice, maybe even play around with both. And then we begin to flow as we inhale, arms reach up. Beautiful. As you exhale, maybe with a bend in your knees, fold all the way into your Uttanasana. Feel that stretch in the back of the body. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. So you're gazing forward, hands on shins or thighs. Exhale, fold back in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Beautiful work, Neil. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach up. Good. Bring your right fingertips to your left wrist. As you exhale, side bend right. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips right wrist. Exhale, side bend left. It's that little half moon shape standing. Inhale up. Exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold again. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach up, Utthita Hastasana into Dasana. Right fingertips, left wrist. Exhale, side bend left. Good. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips, right wrist, side bend right. I did that wrong. Inhale up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So you're at the back of your mat. Keep your feet rooted. Lead with your right hand as you start to walk forward into your downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Squeeze the forearms in towards each other. Feel the inner arm wrap towards the outer arm. Just gazing between your feet. Keep stretching back through your heels. Pull your lower belly in and up so much so that it starts to carry you forward into your plank pose. Gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. So your hips are in line with your shoulders. You might have to squiggle your feet back a little bit, particularly if you're tall. And then see if you can get your shoulder blades to squeeze in towards each other. As you do that, can you firm up your thighs a little more? All right, lower to your knees. As you exhale, elbows bend an inch to no more than shoulders in line with elbows. Gaze forward, breathing here. So little modified chaturanga, little push up. Next, exhale, land in one piece on your belly. Tops of the feet pressed, just reach your arms by your side, palms face in. You can rest on your forehead here to start. Really root down into your feet. So you're pressing into those toenails. You're feeling outer hip squeeze in. Glutes are engaging a little bit here. As you inhale, keep the lower body anchoring is head and chest extend forward and up. And then maybe start to reach the pinkies on your hands up towards the ceiling. As you do that, though, keep pressing to the outer edge of your baby toes, your pinky toes. Check in with your breath again. And then from here, again, lower body is pressing, but start to reach your arms out like airplane wings. Let's have the palms facing down, but squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other. And then elbows bend, you bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Everything is squeezing into the midline. As you do that, notice how the shoulder heads do lift a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up. Good, exhale, lower. Couple more like this, just a little low cobra vinyasa. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up, hold here. Back of the neck is nice and long, front of the neck is nice and long, so you're not throwing the head back too far or tucking the chin, kind of splitting the difference. Good, and then from here, press to your tabletop, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your right leg, keep your hips even, so that right hip wants to open up sometimes, direct it down. As you exhale, you're gonna step your right foot through between your hands, lower onto your left knee. This might be a great place to have some blocks. So we're just gonna get into these big muscles here. So as you exhale, really melt that left hip down. You're feeling that big hip flexor stretch. And then as you exhale, start to straighten your right leg. Right hip pulls back, left hip forward, getting into the hamstring. Exhale in, a little hamstring hip flexor vinyasa. Inhale, pull back. Let's do a few more of these. Just gently warming things up. And again, don't get too attached to this needing to look a certain way. Simply go to the place in your body where you get a stretch and let that be enough. You need not go any further. We're all built a little different. We all feel a little different on different days. All right, let's do one more little round here. And then rock forward. We're just gonna take a few breaths. Maybe you feel like you want to melt in a little more. Maybe you need to upright yourself. If you don't have blocks, you could actually have your front or your hands on that front thigh. Are you breathing? Maybe send the exhale to the belly of that hip flexor on the left side, that big muscle. Just imagine your breath helping to create some space and ease. Okay, let's pull back. So getting into the right hamstring, you can take your blocks along for the ride. You might be close to a wall here. If you're really tight, you could be upright, holding onto a piece of wall. All good options. So again, these poses can look like a lot of different things. Okay, so let's upright ourselves here. And here you're gonna wanna make sure you're not on a tightrope. So you wanna land with your right knee over your right ankle and then just maybe heel toe that foot to the right a little bit. So legs are hips distance apart. Hands up to that right thigh. Direct your tailbone down. Stretch your sternum up. Inhale, stretch arms up. It's just a low crescent pose. And then let's find our little lateral stretch here. So right fingertips to left wrist. Squeeze outer hips in towards each other. As you lean to the right, definitely a little balance pose. You can see me wobbling here. So if that's happening to you too, you're not doing anything wrong. Your body is figuring out how to keep you stable in this posture. All right, as we inhale, we come on up. As you exhale, you are gonna plant your palms, curl your left toes under. We're gonna step our left foot to meet our right foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhaling, pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together, your heart. So this time, let's inhale, stretch our arms up. Good, interlace your fingers, press your palms up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, side bend to the right, really spin those right ribs up towards the ceiling. Let's just hold this for a couple of breaths. Maybe gazing up underneath that left arm. Shoulder blades are squeezing in towards each other. All right, as we inhale, we come up to center. Exhale, release, hands fold in. Good, inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your left foot way back. Again, make sure that you're not on a tightrope. We're gonna keep our left toes curled under this time. Find a little bend in that left knee. Rise up, full crescent pose. Your tailbone is releasing down, your sternum is stretching up. Good, maybe you start to straighten that back leg. Maybe you don't. It just kind of depends on how tight that hip flexor is feeling. As you exhale, take your arms out wide. Take a deep inhale here, find length. And then exhale, squeeze right hip into the midline, right knee into the midline as you begin to twist to the left. So torso just upright here. Imagine that somebody is holding on to your wrists, to somebody's, and they're gently stretching you apart. Reach your right hand down your left leg. Take this left arm up and over. So a little like reverse crescent lateral stretch. All right, as we inhale, we come to our full crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step your right foot back to meet your left foot. We are in plank pose. Good, and then you have the option to do your full chaturanga here. So lowering elbows to halfway, pausing. You can be on your knees to do that. Land on your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Or if you're ready for an upward facing dog, drag your hands back, wrists under elbows. Press into the tops of your feet. So shins, knees, thighs lift up off the mat. From here, you roll over your toes. Downward facing dog. Nice steep inhale. And then as you exhale, lead with your right hand. Start to walk hands back to meet your feet. Good. Inhale, chest extends forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Very nice. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Now we see if I can remember all of that through the second side. As you inhale, arms reach up. Nothing like a test on a Monday. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Lead with your left hand this time. Take your time, keep pressing your heels back. As you walk forward into your downward facing dog, we take a few breaths here and we pay attention to how this is already starting to feel somewhat easier in our bodies. We're starting to find more space, a greater sense of ease. Pull your belly in a lot, so much so that it starts to direct you forward into your plank pose. Couple of breaths here. Sternum forward, tailbone back, legs really active, breath smooth and steady. Gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. And then in that same option, shift forward on toes. So full chaturanga or your modified chaturanga on your knees. Pause at halfway and then lower onto your belly here. So this time, couple of options. You can just stretch your arms back by your side again. If you have a strap, you could hold on to the strap. That's just going to help you to get into the shoulders a little more. You might be able to interlace your fingers at the small of your back. If you're doing that, keep a little bend in your elbows. So Shalabhasana, as you inhale, tops of the feet, legs press down, but head and chest lift, and then you start to drag your knuckles towards your heels, whatever variation you're doing. Feeling those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other a lot. Breath smooth and steady. If you have your fingers interlaced, just go ahead and change the interlacing. So you just shift everything one in the opposite direction. And then maybe whatever variation you're in, you choose to lift your feet up off the mat an inch or two. If you go there and it causes sensation in your back that doesn't feel good, you place them back down. All right. So let's take the arms out wide again, palms facing down. Good, and then bringing fingertips underneath your shoulder heads or wrists underneath your elbows, lower the feet. Stay here in your low cobra, or again, if you would like, an upward facing dog, you can take that. Deep inhale. Exhale, you make your way back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Again, square the hips off so both hips are facing down. Exhale, step that left foot through between your hands. Lower onto your right knee. And we get into these big muscle groups here, just flowing a little bit, warming everything up. Exhale, melt that right hip flexor down. Inhale, begin to straighten that left leg any amount. It might not get all the way there. Exhaling, rocking in. So just a little vinyasa here. Inhale, pull back. Couple more. Couple few more. Good. So moving towards the hold here. Next time you're in the hip flexor stretch, just stay there. Keep your breath smooth and steady as you do that. Maybe you're getting curious about how this side might feel different in your body. If this side feels different in your body, just noticing. All right, transition back into that half splits. Deep bend in the left knee is absolutely fine. For those of us that are a little more flexible, really point those left toes up towards the ceiling. Draw that left hip back a lot. Can you find a little of the thoracic opening feeling, this cobra pose in the upper body, even though this is a slight forward fold? All right, so let's exhale, hinge forward, and then bring your hands to your left thigh. Make any little adjustments that you need to. So specifically walking that left foot to the left so it doesn't feel like you're on a tightrope. As you inhale, arms reach up, low crescent pose. Keep directing your tailbone down, stretching sternum up. Then left fingertips to right wrist, outer hips squeeze in to help anchor and support you. Lean off to the left. Breath smooth and steady. Wrapping left ribs up towards the ceiling, maybe gazing up underneath that right arm. Shoulder blades are squeezing in towards each other. Good. As we inhale, we come up here. So low crescent pose, and then as we exhale, hands unwind. Curl your right toes under. Keep your gaze forward. Exhale, step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Nice work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach. Interlace your fingers again. Go for the way that feels a little funny. Press your palms up towards the ceiling as you inhale. And then exhale, we side bend to the left. And we just hold here a few breaths. Just another variation in the arms. How does this feel? Can you keep outer hips squeezing in, lower belly pulling in and up? Good. Inhale. Come on up to center. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Keep that feeling in the upper body as you step your right foot way back. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Find a little bend in that right knee. Inhale, rise up. So full crescent pose. Really trying to find length in the hip flexors, the lower waist. Maybe you straighten that back leg. If it feels too intense to do that, you keep a little bend in the knees. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, take your arms out wide. Find a deep inhale here. And then outer hip squeeze in a lot as you exhale, start to twist to the left. So torso is upright. Just imagine that somebody is holding your wrist, pulling you apart. Check in with your breath here. It can get a little constricted in these twists. So really try to bring your attention to filling up on your inhale. All right. Left hand down that right leg. It's kind of got a little lateral reverse stretch here. Little balance for sure. All right, here we go. Inhale up, full crescent pose. As we exhale, hands come down to the mat. So keep your hips to slow and just step to your plank pose. Find an inhale. Exhale, you can come to your knees or you can do your full chaturanga. Hover it halfway or come all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. As you exhale, find your downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, lead with your left hand. Start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. And as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Just close your eyes here, pause for a moment. And let the breath slow down. Notice the sensations happening in your body. Feel the heat that you've created. Good. Blink your eyes open. Let's step wide on our mats. If you have a block, that will be really nice to have. We're going to come into our triangle pose. So block can go behind your right ankle. So starting with the edges of your feet, parallel with the edges of the mat. From deep within your right hip socket, turn that leg out to 90. Left toes turn in. So hips are not on an equal plane here. They're doing different things. Do square your torso to the long edge of your mat. As you begin to press to the inner edge of your right foot and the outer edge of your left foot, inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, lengthen through the right side. Feel that stretch on the inner leg. Good. Come back upright. Exhale, reaching. Nice. As you inhale, find just the initial setup. Exhale, reach. Good. Inhale. Just kind of finding this action in the pelvic girdle as you exhale. Reach, reach, reach. Hold on to this length. When you can't get any further, hand to thigh, shin. Block is great if you have it. You can play with the height. And then shoulder blades stacking on top of each other, lengthening through that right side, maybe pulling the belly in a little bit. Gaze can be down, forward, or up. Trying to really keep both legs nice and active. Let's find a little shoulder stretch here. So start to spin your left palm to face behind you. Bend that elbow, grab a piece of shirt. Maybe you can sneak your left fingertips to the inside of your right thigh. Wherever you're at, you're trying to press that left shoulder head back. Where's your breath? The more you press to the inner edge of that right foot, the more you're going to feel this hip opening turning on. Nice work. Let's inhale, stretch that top arm up. So just releasing the wrap. Good, take an exhale here. And then inhale, press into your feet. You can grab your block if you have one, rise on up. Parallel your feet, just move the block behind your left ankle. Okay, find your arms again from deep within that left hip socket. That leg turns out, right toes in, deep inhale. Exhale, hinge. So kind of feeling this nice groin stretch as you do that. So we're not going in super deep yet. Inhale, press to the inner edge of your left foot, upright yourself. Torso is facing towards the long edge of your mat. Exhale. Good. Inhale, uprighting. A couple more. Exhale, lengthen, reach, stretch. How long can you get? Inhale, up. Nice. This time we exhale and we keep reaching. Hand to thigh, shin, or block. This side might be different, so modify as you need. Maybe you need a little more height. Maybe you need a little less height. Feel your shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Press to the inner edge of your left foot as you root into the back edge of your right foot. Gaze down, forward, or up. Might even close your eyes here. That can feel really nice in this pose sometimes. See how much space you can take up here. Get really big. Then we find our shoulder stretch. So spin your right palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow, grab a piece of shirt. Just finding some leverage to press that right shoulder head back. You might be able to get fingertips to the inside of your left thigh. All good places to be. And then you're just noticing how this pose feels for you. Where are the places where you're getting sensation? Where are the places where you're feeling really spacious and easy? There's probably a little bit of both. All right, so let's release the wrap, stretch that right arm up. As you exhale, look down at your left toes. And then inhale, rise on up. Parallel your feet, release your arms, and then step or hop your feet together. Coming into your Tadasana, your mountain pose. So let's just find another hip opening balancing pose here. So our tree pose, our Vrikshasana. Root into your left foot, pull your lower belly in and up. Just come up onto your right toes and then start to open up that hip. So you might stay here like this. This is the pose. Maybe you lift your right foot to the lower left leg. Maybe you reach down. Use your hand to help you snuggle that foot into your thigh. So the only place we don't want the foot is on the knee. Palms come to heart center. Are you breathing? When we come into these balance poses, we often hold it. Keep it moving. It also is helpful to find something in front of you to look at. A gazing spot, a drishti. It's going to help with the balance. That being said, there are all these micro movements happening in that standing leg. I don't know if you can tell, but my foot is working so much. You can help to stabilize yourself also by pressing thigh and foot in towards each other and out against each other at the same time. So finding this idea of this isometric stretch. Start to reach our arms up. So growing our branches. Arms can be wide. They can be a little closer together. If your shoulders are more open, just see what you need. See what helps you with the balance. And then if you're feeling brave and adventurous today, maybe you start to bring your gaze up. The taller your ceiling, the harder this is, or if you're practicing outside, that can make things really challenging as well. Good. As we exhale, we release arms down. Good. Release that right foot. Give the legs a little walk out. Nice work. And then we take our second side. So rooting into your right foot. Come up onto your left toes. So hips stay even. You can just put your hands there to see that you're feeling that. Open up. This is the pose. This might be where you stay, especially if you're newer to this. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a good place to be. Maybe you lift that foot a little higher. Maybe you go a little higher still. Side to side, this can look different. So just know that it doesn't have to be the same. Your breath is smooth and steady. Your gaze is soft and gentle, looking at something in front of you. Nice, nice, Neil. Finding this isometric work. Start to grow branches up. Maybe start to bring your gaze up. Are you breathing? Very nice. As you exhale, release hands back down to heart center. Just release that left foot. Arms come by your side. Close your eyes here. Nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And let's lower on to our mats. So coming onto our backs, we're gonna do a little bridge pose, and let's have a block handy. So we'll do a couple active versions of this, and then we'll go into a supported with a block version. So on your back here, you're landing with your knees over your ankles, arms by your side. Feet are about hips distance apart. All right, so as you inhale, press into your feet, direct your tailbone forward, start to lift your hips up. As you exhale, lower down. Just moving like this, little vinyasa, inhaling, pressing up. Gonna feel this opening, that thoracic opening again. As you exhale, lower. Your gaze is just straight up at the ceiling here. So you're pressing into the back of the center of your head. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Couple more, inhaling, lifting. Exhale, lower. And then this time, inhale, lift. Hold here, and you either grab the outer edges of your mat, give yourself a little leverage to roll those shoulders underneath you. You could also interlace fingers underneath you. It's like a reverse shalabhasana. They're both great. They're both doing the same thing. Feel your inner thighs release down as you direct your tailbone forward. There's definitely some sensation here. It's also worth noting in this point that this can be a really big knee stretch for most of us, especially if we're newer to yoga. So it's not uncommon to feel that. Certainly you can be feeling this in a lot of other places as well. There's definitely a lot of work. Kind of used to be this idea in this pose not to fire the glutes, and I think that shifted a lot. So do get those glutes working. It's going to help you, and it's going to protect the SI joint, the lumbar. And one more deep inhale. Exhale, slowly lower down, one vertebra at a time. And then go ahead and grab your blocks. We're going to do that same pose, but we're just going to give ourselves a little support. So press into your feet. Slide the block underneath your sacrum. So the sacrum is the triangle at the bottom of your tailbone. What tends to happen, I'm going to show how to do this wrong, is that we get the block in our lower back. So you can see my buns are kind of on the opposite side of the block. So this is a lot of tension on the lower back. It doesn't feel good, and this is a pose that's supposed to feel good. So I'm going to just scoot everything down lower. So my booty's actually kind of resting on the block along with that sacrum. It should feel pretty easy and pretty supported here. And then again, you can just take your arms by your side, palms facing up. Maybe try to snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you here. And as you inhale, it's going to feel as though the top of the chest is just lifting up towards the chin. Maybe start to stretch your breath out here as we move into this final part of our practice, this quieter part of our practice. You might stay here like this. If you'd like to come into a supported shoulder stand today on your block, you're going to keep your sacrum, your hips exactly where they are. Just going to bend one knee in, then the other, and then start to extend your legs to straight. Sometimes you have to adjust your block here. And in this pose and in bridge pose, you want to just make sure that you're not looking side to side. Just gazing up at the ceiling. There's a lot of weight on the shoulder and the neck here. So we want to protect those places. This is a great little pose to do if you've had a day where you've been on your feet a lot, your legs are tired, and this nice, calming, restorative pose. You can even do this pose without the block by simply taking your legs up a wall, so just getting a little support in that way. Good. Just start to bend your right knee. If you're in this shoulder stand, release that foot down. Feel the moment your toes touch the mat. And then bend your left knee, same thing. Just really pay attention to the sensation as the toes hit the mat. Press into your feet, lift your hips up. Good. And remove the block from underneath you. All right. And let's just stay on our backs today, kind of a little post-holiday reprieve, a little rest. And let's come into our reclining pigeon. So you're going to take your right ankle, cross it above your left knee. Before we go any further, just take your right hand into your right thigh. Gently press that thigh forward. You're flexing the right foot. You should be feeling this on the outer right hip. If it feels like you're getting a good amount of sensation, just stay here like this. If you feel as though you'd like a little more, begin to bend your left knee into your chest, and you're just going to thread your right arm through that triangle you've made with both of your legs, and you're going to interlace fingers either around your left shin or your left thigh, and depending on flexibility and the length of your limbs. Then maybe you wedge your right elbow into that right thigh again, just kind of muscularly pressing forward so you can find a little more stretch in that right hip. Check in with your breath again. Just notice how it started to slow down, get a little longer. You might still be doing your Ujjayi breath, but you may have kind of also let go of that. You're still inhaling and exhaling through your nose, but maybe without that heated quality, that constriction of the sides of the throat. All right, so as you exhale, just go ahead and release down. Let's stay in this shape here on this side. Bring your arms out in a T shape. And then as you exhale, start to fall to the outer edge of your left foot. Stamp that right foot down. And then just imagine that somebody's pressing down on this right hip. So you're feeling it release down towards the earth. Gazing straight up, maybe rolling onto your right cheek if that feels okay. Good. As you inhale, come on up. So let's take this right thigh entirely over our left thigh. Press into your left foot. Lift your hips up. It's like a funky little bridge pose. Scoot your hips to the right. Place them down. And then allow both knees to fall to the left. If this feels really intense in your body, you're simply going to stack knees on top of each other. So for some of us, this leg cross version just doesn't feel good. If that's you, don't torture yourself. Adjust. Try to keep both shoulder blades pressing down into the mat. So you're kind of bringing your attention to that right shoulder blade. You can imagine that I'm in the room with you, giving you a little adjustment, anchoring that right shoulder down. All right, as we inhale, we come up to center. So you're going to have to center your hips again, uncross, and then we take our left ankle above our right knee. So start with that foot flexed, left hand pressing into that left thigh. So we're finding space in the lower left waist. Noticing how this side feels, particularly in these hip stretches. You can tell a significant difference side to side sometimes. One usually is quite a bit easier. If you're getting enough, you stay here like this. If you want a little more, bend your right knee in, left hand through that triangle you've made, interlace fingers around either that right thigh or shin. I'm just going to wedge this left elbow. I'm going to use the muscles in my arms to press forward. That's going to intensify the sensation that I'm getting in the hip, in the glute. Checking in with your breath again. Good, deep inhale. Exhale, release, stay in this shape. Arms come out in a T shape. So we're going to fall off to the right here. Just got to move my props out of the way. Just stamping down into that left foot. And then again, just imagine that somebody's pressing down on this left hip. So it's not going to release towards the floor, but you kind of move in that direction. And then maybe you gaze out over your left fingertips. Good, inhale up to center. Left thigh comes entirely over right thigh, unless, of course, that didn't feel good on the other side, in which case you're just gonna hug both knees in a stack knees. Press into your right foot, lift hips, scooch them off to the left, and then go ahead and let knees fall to the right. Anchor down into that left shoulder blade. Breath smooth and steady. We're almost there, almost made it to our Shavasana. Good. Inhale up to center. Square off your hips, uncross that thigh. If you took that variation, hug both knees into your chest. And then begin to make your way into your final resting pose. So if there's tenderness in your lower back, knees knock in towards each other, feet are wide, arms by your side, palms facing up. Otherwise, classic Shavasana, legs extended. Again, find a little bridge pose in the upper body, a little of that thoracic lift that we had at the beginning of class. And then just melt in here. Take rest. Allow your brain, your body to assimilate all of this good hard work you've done the past hour. Shavasana. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing a little gentle movement back to your body. And stretch your arms up overhead. And staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other. Just find the fetal position. Use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So finding a nice Sukhasana. Notice how you feel here. So notice what has shifted for you this past hour. Send yourself, send your body love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Just promise yourself you're going to carry this good feeling that you've created with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Palms come together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you.